Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. As a reminder to all the listeners, we're on Anchor, we're on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, we're on so many other podcasting platforms. And if you're looking for us in the video format, you can find us on the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff going on there. Drink feels like it's been a while, but it's great to be back with you here.
It feels like it's been a while because it's probably have been a while. And now we back in the saddle like the training, so you know what time it is. How everything with you?
Oh, it's good. I think the last time we did a show, I don't think the Astros and Red Sox had even started, and then there was got a little murky in between there with games 2 and 3, just
Uh,
out central.
Listen, and I think this might get brought up once or twice, but we definitely missed the mark on that. But we ain't gonna get them all right, but we definitely ain't gonna get them all wrong. So another day, another dollar. We got to give the streets what they need. We see what they don't. We definitely gonna say what they want. We done made that clear. Set your plates, cause it's time to eat. And last but not least, let's talk some sports, baby. What we got, Jay?
All right, this is episode 12 of season 3. We're going to talk about the NBA's 75th anniversary team. We're going to recap week 7 in the NFL, and we're going to talk about the weekend in college football.
And then from there, you know what we got to talk about first. Game 1 of the World Series tonight, folks. Make sure your TV is tuned in. I think the first pitch is at 8:09 Eastern Standard Time. We got the Braves gonna have Charlie Morton gonna be their starting pitcher. Astros have Framber Valdez. I'm trying here. How you say it?
Framber Valdez.
Okay, there we go. Boom. So with that said, it looks like the Astros are the favorites to get it done tonight. So what say you about what we're gonna see in Game 1 of the biggest game in Major League Baseball?
Well, I think the Astros deserve to be the favorites. If you had to, I guess, if you took a random poll of who you would thought out of these two teams would make the World Series, it probably would be the Astros. Especially if you took one after the Ronald Acuna injury. I'm still pretty surprised that Atlanta's made it this far, but all credit to them for the front office for going out there and just dropping a net on the whole league and just getting outfielders who were just, some of these guys were cast-offs. I mean, Eddie Rosario at the trading deadline for Cleveland. I mean, this guy couldn't get anything done, and then here he comes in the NLCS and he gets 14 hits, wins the NLCS MVP, and I think he's the first player in that series to get 14 hits in a series in just 6 games. All the other players with 14 hits in a LCS had to go 7 games. But you look at Rosario, you look at Duvall, Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, he'll DH tonight. I mean, they went out and they got a whole new outfield. I mean, this was the same team who had Marcell Ozuna at the beginning of the year, and then he's over here hitting somebody or something ridiculous. Just you got to admire what the Atlanta Braves have overcome to get here with the Acuna injury. The starting pitching didn't look all that hot for at different stages of the season, but I mean, when you look at Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, Max Fried, I mean, these guys, they put it together. And then the bullpen, I mean, that was something coming into the season that you look at and said, I'm not too sure about some of these guys, but Will Smith, Tyler Matzik, and AJ Minter. I mean, these are 3 guys who have been locking it down, all of them left-handed guys. So I think the Braves are certainly deserving to be here. I think they're going to put up a heck of a fight. But in the end, I think the Astros, I think they're too good for them. And I think as long as their heads are on straight and they're focused and they're not taking this moment for granted, I think they're going to win this series in 6 games. I think they do win Game 1 tonight. If you remember, in Game 5 of the ALCS, Framber Valdez, after 2 very rough starts, one in the division round against the White Sox, and then I think it was game, might have been game, no, it was Game 1. He wasn't all that effective in either start, but in Game 5 he locked it down. He pitched 8 innings, only gave up 3 hits, 1 run, had the sinker working, just ground balls everywhere. The Astros just vacuuming them up across the infield. I think as long as he's locked in and he can give you something, which I think he will, I think the Astros take care of business tonight. Charlie Morton, I mean, there's going to be a familiar face out there for Houston. Morton, a part of that 2017 World Series champion team. He'll be going against his former team. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about for Houston. When you have a guy in Charlie Morton on the mound, the Astros got some familiarity with him. You think about a guy in Brent Strom, the pitching coach for Houston. What kind of insight does he have for how Morton may attack these hitters? I think that's one of the things I'm looking at. And then, going back to a guy like Rosario on the other side, and even Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson was on that Dodgers team in 2017, so some of these guys, there's familiarity there. And then Eddie Rosario was in the American League earlier this year, and then he's been with the Twins for several years. So, I mean, the Astro pitching, the Astro staff, some of these guys remember some of these guys in the Braves lineup. So I think some of that familiarity could be a great service to them. The Astros obviously have the experience edge, the 5 straight American League Championship Series, and now 3 World Series appearances in 5 years. I mean, nothing phases them. You think about how Game 2 and Game 3 of the American League Championship Series went. Boston tags them for 3 grand slams. They blow them out in back-to-back games, and they get back off the mat in a close Game 4, and then they start swinging their bats, and that now you have them in the World Series. I think it is going to be. I think Atlanta's going to, they're going to put up a fight, and they will make it interesting. They will make the Astros sweat. I think it would go a long way when you talk about things like home field advantage. I don't think it means as much in the sport of baseball as it is in football or basketball. But I think from a confidence standpoint, it would serve Atlanta well to win one of these 2 games in Houston. If they go down 2-0, it's not unheard of. I'm not saying they can't come back and get back in the series, but I think from a pure confidence standpoint and being the underdog, it would be in their best interest to win one of these 2 games in Houston, go to Atlanta for the 3 games with a 1-1 split, and see how things progress from there. But I think, I talked about the Braves bullpen for a little bit, but when the Astros starting pitching was completely imploding against Boston, these relief pitchers held it down completely. And I think they got a deeper bullpen than Atlanta. When I talk about Christian Javier, Phil Maton's been very good. Obviously, Presley and Graveman and Ryan Stanek. I saw a stat today. These guys have pitched 34 innings in the playoffs so far, and they got about a 1.06 ERA, which equates to giving up 4 runs. That's absolutely outstanding. And not only have they been doing good work, it's been great work at extended periods of time. I mean, every time Javier hits the hill, he's got to go 2 minimum. It feels like 3 innings, just because there's a starting pitcher out there who ain't getting it done. So I think if Atlanta can pull a Boston and just wear out some of these starting pitchers and maybe tax the bullpen a little too much, I think that maybe that's their best chance. But both of these offenses are great. I think the difference will wind up being the Astros pitching will be just a little bit better, because even though I got a lot of respect for what the Braves are able to do from an offensive standpoint, this Houston lineup is just built different. They will have to make a decision when you look at games 3, 4, and 5 in Atlanta, what they do with Alvarez and what they do with Brantley. How do they mix and match their outfield? I'm going to tell you something. If Jordan Alvarez keeps hitting the way he's hitting, I don't think there's any way you can keep him out of the lineup, even though they may be somewhat uncomfortable with him defensively because he's their designated hitter. When you go to Atlanta, you lose the DH. I'm thinking of something. It might be in their best interest to put Alvarez in left, Brantley in right, and move Tucker in the middle, because as I mentioned to you, they got a guy, Martin Maldonado, behind the plate who's really been struggling this playoffs. Probably, I think he's got about maybe 2-3 hits. It hasn't been pretty. I don't think he's batting 100. Not very good. So when they go to Atlanta, they're going to have Maldonado in there, and the pitcher's going to be batting. So, I mean, in reality, you might have 2 fairly easy outs at the bottom of that lineup. And if you take Alvarez out of the equation, then you're looking at a guy, McCormick, who with all due respect, and I do have respect for Chas McCormick and Jose Siri, but they ain't Yordan Alvarez. So I think Dusty Baker, that's going to be a hard choice for him. But I think in the end, if I'm pulling the strings right now, I'm going to have Alvarez in the lineup. The guy's just too hot to take out in my estimation. But in the end, Astros in 6.
Okay. So I'm looking at some numbers. So I was looking at some let's go with the numbers for the Astros. The Astros, they batting .281. That's the batting average. They got a 4.50 ERA, and evidently in the playoffs they outscoring opponents by 21 runs, which I know if you watch the last series, you kind of probably scratching your head, but you gotta understand they done played four. This will be the fourth series or the third series, I should say, that they done played. So I guess I understand that. The Braves batting 250, batting average, 3.41 ERA, and they're outscoring opponents by 7 runs. So, you know, both teams took a different route to get here, right? For the Braves, well, for both teams, but I think for the Braves more, that trade deadline just did wonders for the team. When you think about the Braves lost their best player in Ronald Acuna, and everybody pretty much stuck a fork in them. They was done. And like you said about the Astros in the last series, well, just since the trade deadline, it seemed like the Braves had picked themselves up off the mat and showed that, hey, show us a little respect over here. And, you know, they was talking to me. I got to show them some respect because I thought they was done in 5 last series. They came out and got it done in 6. So, that I got to show them a little respect. But, Jay, what I like for you to hit on specifically is, so we know National League play different from American League. We got the DH and all that. What advantage could the Braves have at home, and then what advantage could the Astros have at home since they play by 2 different sets of rules?
I think if you talk about advantage, disadvantage, I think the Braves will benefit from playing on the road because they'll get another big bat in there. Jorge Soler, he's dealing with a calf injury, but he's good to go now. So when you look at Soler, when you look at Peterson, Rosario, and Duvall, when you have all those guys in a lineup, that's a lot to deal with. I think what it's going to come down to, as I was explaining about, what the Astros do with their DH when you go to a National League ballpark and you lose the DH, it's going to come down. They will likely, if they play Alvarez, they're going to sacrifice some defense because you're going to put Tucker in the middle. Tucker's a really good outfielder, normally plays right field. Brantley is really solid, but you wouldn't call him a great defender. And then Alvarez, at this stage, just simply hasn't played enough for us to really know. But at this stage, he's a below average outfielder. He's out there to hit the ball and hit the ball hard. So I think the Braves, when they go to their ballpark, they'll have the advantage when you lose because it's a bigger deal for Houston to maybe pull Alvarez or lose, a plus outfielder in the middle in center field, be it McCormick or Siri. Whereas the Braves, they're losing Jorge Soler. But when you talk about losing Soler or Alvarez, there's really no comparison, at this particular moment in time. So that is an advantage that Atlanta has. I think the advantage is Atlanta has the advantage a little bit when it comes to the DH when Houston loses the DH and has to make a decision, do they want more offense or do they want more defense? That's I think when they play in Houston, both teams will be at full strength. The Astros will have their normal lineup, their normal defense. It'll just be an added bonus for the Braves to have Soler in the lineup.
Okay. And so we got the over and under is 8.5. You taking the over or the under?
What's 8.5 runs tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Runs tonight. Yeah, I'll go over. I think it's going to be an offensive-driven series. I really do.
Okay. So I'm going to take the Braves in 7. I'm sorry. The series will go 7. I'm going to take Houston. I'm sorry, folks. That's a typo. I think the series will go 7. I'm going to take Houston in 7. 2 guys I just want to highlight for this series. Carl Tucker for the Astros. I think, maybe that he take this and go ahead and show why he should be spotlight. And then for the Braves, man, I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman, the old man. The catalyst. Those are 2 guys I think going to be the spotlight, of this series. And we'll see. Game 1 tonight, 8:09, first pitch on Fox. You know what it is.